What up, though? You can see it's not just me standing here. We've got the man himself, Swerve Strickland, with us. First of all, you know, I heard you talking with some of the homies about this not being the first time that you've been in Detroit. I remember watching you in your Evolve days and all those things. So tell me a little bit about being back in the city and what we're doing today being at the D-Man Foundation.
Well, you want to talk about those Evolve days in Detroit. Those were like one of the times where I was coming back into Evolve. And me and Gabe Spolsky, promoter at the time, we weren't really seeing eye to eye several years prior. And that was one of the ones where like, okay, let's lay everything on the table. I'm ready to come back. What do we need to do? Made it happen, and that's where I got into the feud with Matt Riddle. And that's one of my crowning achievement moments in my wrestling career, where I started taking off on the independents. So started with Detroit and Evolve. So thank you, appreciate you there.
Shout out to past guests of the show, Matt Riddle. Well, with that being said, man, it's dope to get to be here at the D-Man Foundation. Yeah. We got to see a little bit of a studio session right quick, seeing some of the different talent that we got here. Talk to me about getting to be a part of events like that, along with all the stuff you see on TV with AEW.
It's honestly, this is where we kind of take the powers of what we have in pro wrestling and we bring it here. You know, it's good to like bring that inspiration from what we do every week on television, TBS, TNT, and we bring it to places like this, guys that are chasing, men and women that are chasing their dreams in a different way. And also, we get inspiration on both sides of it. You know, these people that like gone through like horrible things, like being shot, like going through like disabilities, getting hit by vehicles and stuff, and still coming out of their comas and still wanting to tell their stories in such a unique way, like music, you know, that inspires us and make it like we feel like, honestly, these are the people we want to speak to. This is what we want to send our message to, but we're receiving the message, and there's no better way to receive the message than being here in person and with the people, you know, hearing their stories, touching, like holding hands, giving a hug, giving a photo and stuff, just to let them know keep going, because you know you inspire us to continue doing what we do on television. You know,
absolutely, man. And as a kid with cerebral palsy, I got to tell you how dope that is to see these kind of things.
Absolutely.
So, with that being said, we talked a little bit about the music stuff, man. I know you got a new music video dropping tomorrow. So, talk to me about that. What's new with the new song? Tell me about the video a little bit and what you got cooking.
And shout out to Global. Global, he's the one that like really shot a couple music videos with me before, and this is my first ones with me just by myself, just solo. You know, new project coming out soon. Got the name of it. Finally, concept put together. Got some great producers. I just got a feature back from Music Soul Child on the project, so that's locked in, ready to go. Got some great producers. I'm working with Captain Corey, who's on tour with Missy Elliott as we speak, so he's helping in the writing process and production of a couple of songs that I've worked on with them. And EJ, you know, shout out Mike Snell that produced the record that you're going to see tomorrow, Out of Control. Prophet, who's the one that produced Big Pressure, going back in the studio with him, going like round 2. Like, this is one of those evolutions of like the sound and the multifaceted ways of expression. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes it's loud, sometimes it's obnoxious, sometimes there's a lot of curse words involved with it, but sometimes there's a lot of lo-fi energy. And I'm like lo-fi with rhythm, a little bit of jazz and blues. You'll hear different sonic sounds of like those because Prophet, he is originally a jazz and blues recording artist, you know, as far as like pianos and keys and stuff. So you hear a lot of like actual instrumentation on 2 different solo projects. It's volume 1 and volume 2. So you get a little bit of both of me.
So shout out to Montezi as well. He's also one of the homies and a past guest of the show as well.
He blesses the album too. I can't do it without my brother.
So I can't let you get out of here without obviously talking about AEW. So as we talked about, you know, what you did with Evolve, what's the biggest difference in the Swerve Strickland we see now in AEW versus the Swerve that we saw back then?
Maturity. I feel like every time, like I've had different stages of my career, whether I was in Evolve all the way going to NXT to come into AEW, there's always been a maturity level and growth. My look, my physique, my music has matured. As far as my walkout, we're far removed from Shaka Khan, you know, ain't nobody, to like figure out who I am now, to like getting just like from the leather jackets, the dark eyes, the braids to like now longer dreads, more tattoos, you know, leather pants and things like that. Nana being added a part of that. All those things is just honestly, all of those things been inspired through music. At every stage has always been inspired through music. So music's always been the core of my character and my growth.
Absolutely. How many times you busted out the Nana dance, bro?
On screen, not one time. Not one time on screen yet. It's been 2 years together.
That's why
I'm trying to go for the record.
So, with that being said, what does Swerve's road back to All In look like, man? You know, obviously we've seen you had your issues with the Young Bucks and what's been going on with all that stuff and how they've been really trying to make themselves known since they've been back in AEW. Yeah. What does your road back to that world title look like?
Honestly, it's going to be a difficult one as long as the Young Bucks are involved with their EVP titles. I will say that. Because if it wasn't for the Young Bucks, I probably would have pinned Jon Moxley at, Dynasty in Philadelphia and become two-time AEW World Champion, which is very few people have been able to do in AEW's history. So, back to the World Championship, it possibly for me, how the Young Bucks and the EVPs feel about me, it's not possible until they are taken care of and they're out of my way.
Absolutely, man. Well, with that being said, now with you being back here in Detroit, we also cover the combat sports. Anybody that watches Knockouts and 3 Counts knows what's up. So does Swerve get down with boxing or MMA or any of those things?
I haven't been really tapped into the new talents as much as, I'm really far removed from maybe over 5, 6, 7 years of it. But the first boxing fight I actually was the one in Dallas with Mike Tyson versus...
What was it like being there for that?
First off, the ladies, the fight before that,
great,
phenomenal,
fight.
Amazing, probably one of the greatest fights I've ever seen. That was my first ever boxing fight, period, but that was one of the greatest fights I've ever seen, period, in any, UFC or anything. They killed it, they went at it, a lot of heart, had the whole, booth, suite just going crazy. Especially the AT&T, that stadium is phenomenal. Last time I was there was for Mania. But yeah, in a fighting stance in the boxing realm, how Netflix pulled that off is really awesome to see.
Absolutely, you can't beat that with Netflix, man. So with that said, I guess I'll let you out of here on this. What do we got before I get what we got in store from you here in Detroit?
Yeah,
there's a big cage match that's going on in Chicago next week. You got Samoa Joe. You got the
first off cage matches in Chicago. I don't feel too good about them. Last time I was in Chicago was in a cage match and I got dropped on the cinder block. Didn't feel too good. And then
this time it's not you though.
I don't want to see a cinder block in the ring, period, for anybody. Funny enough, the next day I actually drove to a Detroit Lions game opening up against the LA Rams. I'm an LA Rams fan.
Oh so,
man. Yeah.
Bro.
Yep. Cut that part out. No, but honestly, cage match in Chicago. The last cage match, was at Revolution with Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher, and they did unreal, just unreal, just work. And me and Hangman was just a different type of tone and feel. It was just hatred and uncomfortableness, and once again doing things that shouldn't be happening in a wrestling ring, but we crossed the boundary. We crossed the boundaries. We take it farther than a lot of other people would, and it's crazy to see a Titan like Samoa Joe get into a cage with no help, and then Jon Moxley, one of the martyrs of AEW for the last 6 years. You can't miss. There's no way you can miss in any way.
What else you can't miss is going to be this Wednesday and Thursday, May 7th, May 8th at the Masonic Temple in Detroit. We got AEW Dynamite and AEW Collision coming through. What can we expect from Swerve here in the Motor City, bro?
For tomorrow, 6-man tag, going to get wild, going to get crazy. These multi-man matches we've been having on Dynamite the last couple of weeks have been going off, going crazy. And now I get to jump in the mix with this against 3 people I despise. The EVPs, Nick Jackson, Matt Jackson, the Young Bucks, and Ricochet, someone I fought in LA in Revolution. So we get
like a puma.
Man, we get to review some things, and he's gonna get some kill shots, if you know what I mean.
You already know.
And I can't wait to smack his head again.
Hey man, you heard it. Well, that's right. This Wednesday and Thursday, Detroit City turns into whose house?
Swerve's house, baby.
You heard the man. Hit that subscribe button.